Welcome to the Bean Counter. I am your host, Julie Bonner. In this production, we are going to explore how to start analyzing a company's financial information. Today, we will be specifically exploring where you can find sources of information that help you analyze financial information so that you can invest or start a business with confidence. In future episodes, we will take an even deeper dive into specific analysis of this information that you can get from these sources. As a reminder, we have the Bean Counter podcast, and we also have a corresponding YouTube channel. All links to the podcast and YouTube channel are on the website www.corebridge.com. For your learning style, you may need to utilize both of the channels to learn the material. Just use what suits you and your learning needs. Also, if you have any questions about the material, you can email me at julie@corebridge.com. As an employee, investor, or as an entrepreneur, I'm a proponent of learning about financial information regarding companies you work for or invest in. In this set of videos and podcast episodes, I will take you through what I would do to start a coffee shop as an example of how to use financial information. Thus, the focus of this information is to help you as an entrepreneur, but the information can be used if you are an employee or an investor. Since I have worked for a coffee company and I am an accountant with experience in the industry, I will have several ideas to share that not only can be utilized in this industry, but in other industries as well. Just remember, you want to be curious about this. Curiosity is your biggest asset that you can bring to the table right now as you learn. This financial analysis process starts with understanding products and services of the company. You will want to understand what comprises the production of these products and services and what specific costs may go into those products and services. Regardless of your role, in trying to understand this information, you can find benefit in knowing the financial backbone of a company. Understanding the products and services of the company you work for can be vitally important to your understanding of the financial health of a company. There is nothing worse than not knowing that a company was headed to financial ruin and losing your job, investment, or your capital. There are several different sources of information that you can utilize to analyze a company and learn about the products and services offered. One way is to work for a company that produces the products and services that you want to sell. Another way is to examine the financial information of a company. As an employee, you can get better detailed information than a non-employee, but you can also use the company website and the Securities and Exchange Commission website, or the SEC. And finally, you can be a customer of the products and services that you eventually want to sell yourself. Thus, if you want to open a coffee shop, working for one would be a great strategy. If you are already working for a coffee company, you can learn much about the products and services by being curious and talking to financial professionals and others in the organization. For example, when I worked for Starbucks, I worked in the cost accounting department. Plus, every holiday season, I would volunteer in the stores. In those roles, I had access to how the stores operated and the costs of production. If I ever wanted to open a coffee store, my confidence level would be very high that I would understand the financial framework to be successful. Another way to study and research coffee shops is to study financial information that is readily available if the company sells common stock. Now, with the Starbucks situation, they do not publish to the public the financial information on a specific store, but you can learn a lot about Starbucks by pulling their information they do publish. Every publicly traded company that has stock on any of the stock exchanges must provide financial information to the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC. At a baseline level, reading a company's yearly annual report, called the 10K or 10-K, gives you a really good broad brush look at an industry and gives you information about the risks to the industry, any potential supply chain issues, etc. It is essential to note that you will need much more specific information. Thus, maybe working for a coffee shop will help you there, but using both sources of information could be very helpful. Finally, talking to an accountant can be very useful. Now, not every accountant is an educator. I just happen to love to teach and to be an accountant. Not every accountant is equipped to explain product costs or help you understand other crucial elements of financial statement analysis, but be diligent and keep talking to people. You want to find someone that can help you. Lots of small businesses use bookkeeping services from accounting professionals on QuickBooks. QuickBooks is owned by Intuit, and you can search for accounting professionals in their Pro Advisor search feature. Plus, a lot of small businesses get a coach through the Small Business Administration through a service they have called SCORE. That stands for the Service Corps of Retired Executives. This is a part of the Small Business Administration, and you can find financial and business resources for the type of company you want to start. Where do you find the public information published about companies? As I have mentioned, one thing to remember here is that public information is required for a company if that company offers common stock for sale on the stock exchanges. Also, it is important to note that these documents are high-level documents. What this means is that all of the consolidated financial information for a company is in the document. Thus, in the case of Starbucks, you will not find any specific information regarding one store. A part of the revenue is about the stores, but there are other sales channels and products that Starbucks offers. Essentially, this is a great source of information, but you will have to dig for specific information, and you may not find all of the specifics that you want. Thus, studying these financial statements is part of a larger plan for learning financial results, but it cannot be the only source you use. So one place to find this information is on a company website. Thus, we know that Starbucks offers common stock to the public, so on their website we can find their financial information that they share. Now, as of this date, in May 2020, I will describe where you can find this information. As time goes by, this might change, but what you're looking for remains the same. So in the future, using this search information, you can find the data, even if the menu path changes. You would start with the company website. In this case of Starbucks, that is www.starbucks.com. And then you would search for a link that is called either About Us or Investor Relations. If you find a sitemap, that is even more handy to find these links. In other words, it may not be obvious where these links are. In fact, for Starbucks, you have to go to the sitemap at the bottom of the page to find these links. For Starbucks, this information currently resides in the Investor Relations link. At this point, what you are looking for is a financial information about the company. And for Starbucks, there is a link called Financial Data. I cannot stress enough that you may have to try different links because not everyone calls these links the same thing. When I go into the financial data, you will see something called Annual Reports, and you also see something called SEC Filings. The really difficult thing sometimes is that annual reports can be synonymous with SEC filings. But in this case, the annual reports for Starbucks are the more glossy, marketing-focused document that a company can produce. They often have a lot of graphs and pictures, and this information can be useful to you, but the document you want is the SEC filing called the 10K or 10-K. The K just means the annual filing to the SEC. There are also 10Q reports as well, and these are the quarterly reports. You can decide which time frame you want to use, but I recommend starting with the annual SEC report or the 10K. So for Starbucks, you would go to the SEC filings, and there you can find the latest 10K, and you can download it as a PDF file. You can also download it as a Word document or an Excel file. I recommend the Word document or the PDF file because they are more easily searched. I will have more information in another production about what you might be looking for, but for now, that is how you can download the information from the company website. Another place that you can find this financial data is from the SEC website. Since every company can be different about where to find the SEC filings on their personal company website, at least on the SEC website, you can use this as a regular source if you look for different companies and their files. You will want to know the stock ticker symbol. So doing a quick Google search on the stock ticker symbol for Starbucks, we find out that the ticker is SBUX. The website for the SEC is www.sec.gov. When you are there, click on Company Filings that is underneath the search box in the upper right-hand side of the website. If you do not know the ticker symbol, then you can do a company name search, but I recommend finding the ticker symbol and then use the fast search. Thus, in the fast search, you would type SBUX. You will look for the 10K, and you may have to filter through data to find it. Thus, in the filing type, you can enter 10-K and find just those annual filings. Remember, websites can change, so even if the website does change, you have the grounding now in what you are looking for. Once you find the data for Starbucks, you can download the information as an HTML version file or an Excel file. This is why I recommend finding the PDF or Word document on the company website. However, you will figure out which format works best for you and the source that you would like to use. Now, you can also find financial data on Yahoo Finance or Bloomberg and many other websites. But one of the challenges with that is that these companies often put financial numbers into their own formatted template. Thus, they could combine data together or leave it out, so the most reliable information comes from the company themselves. Again, we will talk about the 10K in another production because there is so much to say about it and how to navigate it. So more on that later. The 10K, like I have said, is a consolidated compilation of financial information. Thus, to get more specifics, being a customer of a coffee shop can give you much more detailed information. And working for a coffee shop can be the best source of financial information. Being a customer can tell you a lot about a company, especially when it comes to ambiance and customer service. Notice how you are greeted, or what the layout is of the store, what other products and services are offered. For example, very few coffee companies have a phone application, but Starbucks does. How does that drive brand loyalty? Then you can always work for a coffee company. That way, you can see the financial information for the store. This way you can ask questions about inventory management or the cost structures of a coffee drink, which can help you in building a financial model for your own business. Obviously, you must have a plan for both of these strategies so that every visit or every day you work for a future competitor, that you are gathering information that helps inform your business plans. Also, you can see that the learning about the financial aspects of a company will take some time. However, you can bypass the time a little bit by using the SCORE mentors and or hiring an accountant to help you. Most importantly though, even if you hire someone, do not dismiss your duties in understanding the financial parts of a business. Even if you hire others, you need to know this information so that people you hire do not rob you blind. More on that also as we go along in your training. Overall, you are using sources that may give you some general information, like the 10K. That document will give you financial information for large companies, but more importantly, it will tell you about risks to the industry, some possible cost information, and information potentially about suppliers or legal issues. More detailed info will come if you can be a customer of a business similar to the business that you want to start or work for one. Plus, you can get more detailed information and models from the retired executives and accountants. The bottom line is you want to understand the products and services. And beyond that, you want to start getting a feel for how companies generate revenue. And if you can understand the revenue models and the breakdown of costs, then you have a great information baseline for going forward. More of the episodes we will compile are about how to search through these documents or what to look for specifically in these strategies. At this juncture, all you have done is found the source documents. but going forward, I will give you specific things to look for and analyze. As you can see, learning about financial information is an odyssey. It is important to keep at it, keep practicing, and the more you do this, the more informed you will be. I know it may seem daunting right now, but any learning process feels daunting at first. If you remember back to learning how to ride a bicycle, it seemed like the process might never get solidified. You will go through that as well with this learning process, but it is well worth your time. The more you know about the finances of a company, the better prepared you can be to be successful. I look forward to talking to you soon. This is your host, Julie Bonner. As a reminder, we have the Bean Counter podcast, and we also have a corresponding YouTube channel. All links to these resources are on the website www.corebridge.com. For your learning style, you may need to utilize both of the channels to learn the material. Just use whichever one or both suits you and your learning needs. If you want to correspond directly, send inquiries to julie@corebridge.com.